going on? RGIJ is back, baby. Oye, mi gente, Latino del mundo. You know why I'm saying that, Mike? Do you know why I'm saying that?
I have no idea what you're saying.
I am saying that because today is Happy National Puerto Rico Day, baby. The Puerto Rican Day Parade has taken place. Hope all my Boricuas are out there showing love and everything else. So this is for us to celebrate our culture, our history, our arts, and everything else. So, of course, I had to show my fellow Boricuas some love by wearing my nice little Puerto Rico Boricua hat. But we've been on hiatus. COVID hit us. And then we ran into another little dilemma a couple of years back where people were disrespecting other people. So we sort of had to put a halt on it and whatnot. But they brought it back, which is awesome. So it was nice to see it on TV, see the people come together and peaceful, no violence, nobody getting hurt or anything. So it was cool to see that again. So I used to go when I was small. My mom sometimes would take us and we would go out there. They have all the food from Puerto Rico, acapurias, pateles, all different stuff, arroz con andule. They have all this stuff. And you basically, it goes from one street all the way like 10 blocks down to another street. And basically they have floats and you just go and you hear the salsa, you hear, merengue and everything. And people just go out there to have a good time. So it was nice just to see us come back to that. So, of course, I had to show my people some love. You know how we Puerto Ricans are with our pride, baby? You know how we are with our pride? You talk about it all the time.
So you know how you are with your volume?
Oh, yeah, mi gente, let's go, baby. Is that we got to project. We project our voice. We're not yelling. It may be sound loud, but we project. We want the people to hear us, to listen to us. That's why we do it. But
Napoleon syndrome. That's what it is.
I mean, most
we want people to take us serious.
I mean, we're taller than the Mexicanos, so we got that going for us. But I was actually wanted to do a little rant today because I went to an appointment for my shoulder. Ladies, if you do not know how to put your fucking makeup on, don't put it on. Go leave the house with no makeup on. Go to YouTube, get some makeup tips, or ask a friend, phone a friend to try to help you. So I go in this place, and the receptionist, she looks like fucking Krusty the Clown. Pink lipstick all over. It looked like a little kid. You know how little kids sometimes will steal mommy's makeup and they'll play with the makeup all over themselves? Like she had pink lipstick all around her mouth. She had like these blush colors. I don't know what was up with it. And then you could tell that her hairstyle was like from back in the 80s where they put all that hairspray and everything else. And I was just looking at her like, how did you look in the mirror and were like, yo, I look good. Like I'm leaving the house like this. It's okay. And you could tell she was an older lady, like maybe mid 40s going maybe to 50. And she had her little GG belt on and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, it has to probably be menopause or something that these ladies are going through. But, dude, she looked like Krusty the Clown. And I don't know if she was married. I didn't really scope up the hand or anything like that. But any other person, I mean, you would have let your wife walk out the door looking like a fucking clown?
I mean, that's how she does her makeup. I mean, let her do her. I mean, I don't care. Do you?
You serious? If you saw her coming out with some fucking pink lips, hot pink lipstick, all this other blush, she looked like the bride of Frankenstein. I mean, it was just not good. It was not good at all. But ladies, if you don't know how to put makeup, go to YouTube, get somebody to help you. I wouldn't let my lady walk out like that. I'd be like, yo, what are you doing? Get back inside, fucking clean that shit up, or do something else. Like, don't even bother wearing it.
Lies. After she took care of you, after your near-death experience last week, like, she's doing whatever she wants.
My bed sheets had the fucking mascara makeup all over the bed sheets and everything. But yeah, I just was like, and you're a receptionist. Like, you're supposed to be there in a professional manner. And she just looked, to me, it just didn't look professional at all, especially when you're working in doctors over, you see patients all the time and everything else. But I was like, this is crazy. I don't know. So I went out. I had friends come to visit as well. So this whole last week just been a fucking a drinking binge fucking every day. Like this whole week now, I don't want to meet nobody. I don't want to see nobody. I don't want to talk to nobody. Like, I just want to take this week to fucking just sort of recover, because last week was almost every day. Don't get me wrong. I love seeing my friends. I'm glad they came out to visit. We had such a great time. But it was just like day after day after day after day. And it was like, because, you know, you want to show them stuff. You want to do stuff with them. You know, you want to be a good host and whatnot. But my body's not up for that anymore. You know, I need my fucking sleep. I need to take a break. I mean, it was going to bed like 2 a.m. to be up by 7:30 to do this, to do that. You know, it was just back and forth. So it was just a lot. But I was talking to one of the kids, millennial kids, and we're talking about, you know, getting a car and everything else as they get older. And the kid was talking about, he was like, yeah, you know, my dad's going to give me his car. So I said, oh, okay. I was like, is it the Lexus? And the kid goes, yeah, it's the Lexus. So I go to the kid, is it automatic, manual? And he looks at me, he goes, Uncle, I told you, it's a Lexus. And I was like, okay, let me repeat the question. I said, I know it's a Lexus, but is it an automatic or a manual? And he was just like, he didn't understand what they meant. So I had to basically break it down to him, how, you know, when it's an automatic, you know, where it goes from the D to the P to the R to the N, or is it a stick shift where you have to move it from 1 to 2 to 3? And then he realized, oh, you're talking about like the gears and all that stuff. He was like, it's an automatic. So I was like, got it. Education system is failing us in the United States. This kid is like almost 13, 14 years old. He didn't know the difference between an automatic, manual, or that the brand. He thought they were brands because he kept telling me, it's a Lexus. I told you, it's a Lexus. And I'm like, okay, I got it. But is it an automatic or a manual? So I just thought that was pretty funny to have this millennial try to school me on what's a brand of a car, if it's automatic or manual. So last night as well, I went out to dinner with some friends, and we were having a great time as well. And my buddy's looking at the menu, and then the menu has some of those deals where you could do, you know, do for two, like you could pay for two, where you basically, you and somebody else would share the meal. So it's just him by himself. So he tells the waiter comes over, he goes, what do you want? He goes, oh, I'm going to do the for two platter. And the waiter looked at him like, okay, you know, that's for two people. He's like, yeah, I know, I got it. So I looked at him and I said, hey, man, I was like, why did you order the two platter? He's like, yo, you got to be smart, man. He was like, because that just means leftovers for me for the week. I'm going to have extra dinner to eat as the day goes by, because, you know, he works different shifts, times, and everything else. So I just thought it was funny. I was like, that is smart. I mean, you pay for two. Now you have meals Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and so on and so forth. So you got your nice little weekly meal plan ahead of you. But that was my week. It was full of excitement, alcohol, jokes, teaching kids, and everything else, the difference between cars and transmissions. But overall, it was a good time. Now, after this, today, this whole week is, I don't want to see nobody at all. Nobody at all.
You are on permanent vacation. That is too much. Like, you are too much on vacation.
But that's the thing. I'm not permanent. You guys say that I'm not permanent vacation. I go to school, right? Let's not our heads. No, you don't. I go to school, right? Yes, I go to school. The GI Bill is giving me housing for school, correct? Yes, he is. In that term, when you're doing something, when you're doing some sort of work and you're getting a paycheck for that work, that in my mind, that is a definition of a job. So that's also my job. I'm working to get paid for the skills that I'm doing, which is to learn and do assignments and take care of all that stuff. So technically, I'm a student, but a work student, because I'm getting paid for this.
No.
So it's not permanent vacation, because I can't just leave anywhere and say, oh, forget the assignments, forget the tasks, forget the homework, because then I fail. And what happens when you fail on the GI Bill? You fail, guess who has to pay the money back? Okay? So
have you ever failed a class?
Never. So hold on. Before you go there, I had my first time I started this program with AMU. I had one professor that she did lower my grade to a C. So I had to put on my lawyer defense hat And we went back at it, back and forth, and she changed my grade after proving my side of the story. So, but go ahead.
Yeah, so if you fail, you don't have to pay it back.
I thought you had, if you get like a below 2.0 GPA, and if you fail classes, I thought you had to pay back
you just
the stuff.
No,
really?
You don't got to pay nothing back. Yeah. The only thing that happens is you just lost, like you just used it up. You got to take that class all over again. Right. And I think they might have problems. I think they might require you to pay for the next class, or you might have to show something going on for you to get that back. So you don't have to pay that money back, but, going forward, you might have more problems, right? So like, let's say you fail accounting and you go right back to take accounting again. They may not approve it at that point. You might have to take other classes to show, okay, cool, you're back on it. You got a high GPA, doing this and that. You might, so there's that. But yeah, you'll get it. You just lost, like, let's say, you know, because there's some people that they have such a tight schedule on their GI Bill. Like if you give some to your kids or wife or whatever, you don't have that much, and so you just wasted, you know what I mean, that point. So, but yeah, they don't have to pay nothing back. Last I saw in 2013. So that is interesting. It could change, but
because I saw like in the disclaimers every time you file that they would basically, you know, back brief you like, oh, these are the stipulations and everything else. But I could have sworn the disclaimer was if you got below a 2.0 GPA or you failed the class, then you would have to basically pay back that money just for that specific class back, because since the GI Bill was covering for you and you didn't live up to the agreement that you had to be above GPA or pass the class. So if you failed the class, but you're still above a 2.0 GPA, then maybe you don't, and you just have to take it over.
Well, it was my first semester it was my first semester at, what was it? LVU. Okay. Right. So yeah. So it's my first semester.
Wait, that was in Vegas?
I failed 2 out of 4. Yeah.
Wait, is it LVU or UNLV?
There you go, UNLV.
You passed. You graduated from LV.
No, I didn't. I mean, I dropped out after that. But I am dyslexic, so it's fucking rude to make fun of me. Anytime you make fun of me, I'm just
trying to clarify what school you went to. If it was, I never heard of LV, because remember, I was stationed in Vegas. So I never heard of LV. But if you're telling me you went to LV school, then I'm just trying to, you know, to make it clear. Is it UNLV or LV? I've never heard of LV, but I know UNLV. Fucking God.
You can always tell when you're lying because your voice gets so high pitched. It's like you're on the Simpsons show and you're just like, da-da-da, like, you know.
You fucking right, what graduated from LV, guys. See? I got my degree from fucking LV over here.
I got, actually, what's funny though is like every time I have to, like, you know, for jobs or what I would do, right? And then you have to do that. Well, of course, I got mine from University of Maryland University College, right? So you type in University of Maryland and then you got to type in University of College, which is fucking stupid. There's some places that don't recognize it because it's just so fucking weird. And I think now they changed it to like global campus. So now it just looks even more fake as ever. So it's kind of weird to be like, yeah, I have a cybersecurity degree from University of Maryland. And then like, you know, you got to like continue on like, oh, that don't sound right. That sounds a little, sounds like fucking on TV. You got like a little cheap thing from
Dude, but they got so many institutions now that I've never heard of. I keep seeing the pop-ups, Liberty University. I'm like, what is that? My friend's going to one. It's called Western Governors University or something.
I heard of that one.
Never heard of that. And now AMU is now APUS. They collaborated with the American Public University System. They collaborated with American military universities, and now they're both together as one. But now, depending on when you enroll, you get to choose which, like, part of the school you want to be. Is it AMU or APUS?
Yeah.
So, you know, you're like, I want to do AMU. So that way your diploma or your degree would say American Military University. But now they, like I said, they merged as one. So I'm just like, got it. But again, you know, I would have never heard of AMU it was only because of the military that I heard of AMU. You know, when you're...
No one's going to AMU unless you're military.
Right.
That's the only place
you're going out anywhere else, it's you're looking at, you know, Florida State University. You're looking at Rutgers University. You know, you're looking at the more name brand colleges. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, WGU, Western Governors, never heard of it until my friend finished it. But all these other ones, Liberty University, because I get the pop-ups for like, oh, if you want your doctorates. And I'm like, Liberty, you know, I never heard of that fucking school at all. Like,
be the first doctors they have. That's what they're pushing on you.
My degree said Liberty University accredited. It's
like every time someone's like, well, I want to go to this college, like, fucking peon mensch. bro, you go to the most expensive college you can. You're like, for real, like, the government pays for it.
That's
It's like that's
hey,
what
that's
you
what
do.
I'm doing. It. The government pays for it, baby. Take advantage. Because right now, if not, it would have been going to my kids, for it to cover their college and everything else. So now you've used up all your GI Bill, right? Is it done, or you got?
I think I got like one or two more classes I could potentially take. So I've thought about going back just to like fuck with it and be like,
But nothing for your daughter.
But
Like the GI Bill, you're not gonna save nothing for her. Like you're just gonna basically come out of your pockets or the loans or anything else.
no. So I've thought about this, and so this is at this current moment, right? So like right now at age 36, 8
Yeah,
and 13
don't
years old,
hesitate
right?
on
So
that
it could
age,
change.
Papa. Don't hesitate on that age. You're like at the age of 30.
I don't care. I'm 36.
Six.
I gotta think about it. And I'm like, okay, again, I take care of myself. I'm healthy. I can outdo a lot of younger people. So I care less. And plus, being me, like I've gotten better as age, so I'm okay. But anyways, one thing that I've thought about is, man, like I don't like the idea for some kids where they don't have to worry about going to college. And what I mean by that is like they know they're going. Instead of sitting there saying like, figure that shit out, I'll help you, or I'm gonna have enough invested for you so that way I can help pay for your first year.
Right.
But other than that, you're fucked, man. You better figure out some other shit. Like I came from nowhere. I came from a dirt poor place like that. I have a degree, and it's only because I found, I mean, of course, I couldn't pay for it, but I found somebody, like I found a way. Right? There's people who got a degree, worked 2 to 4 jobs doing that shit. So it's not impossible, but also with the way colleges are getting that much more expensive. I mean, there's going to be at some point where people are going to sit there and say, you really don't need, I mean, honestly, even now, what does really a degree really do for you? It doesn't really do much for you in a sense, because, if you have a certain kind of trade, even computers, like I have a degree and you can have a degree in computers, but it's like, okay, cool. You got a degree, but that shit's old. I mean, what are you doing now? What is your current stuff like that? You got that 2 years ago. What's going on right now? Are you in the know? And how's your skill set? And so that's why I kind of don't really worry about it too much, because they're getting way the fuck out of hand. They're getting ridiculous with the amount they're doing. So I don't know if I'm going to sit there and tell my kids, hey, you need to go to college, because there may not necessarily be, unless they pick a field that require, they want to be vets right now. Okay, that requires that, but we don't know in the future. So as a current moment, I'm like, man, you got to figure that shit on your own. Like I can help, but the same time frame, like what happens if you're 8 and 13 years old and you're told you're going to go to college and I'm paying for it? Like, okay, cool, I'll go there. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? But if someone's like, hey, you got to pay for this shit. Okay, then you might want to go to community college first, do your 2 years. That way you can get your prereqs out of the way. Okay, do you know what you want to do? No. Okay, keep going. Okay, now transfer to bigger. You know what I mean? Like, people look at it as like, man, I'm looking at college as like a place to party. And I was like, man, that's fucking work you're doing now. You got to like really, get your shit together. So, man, I really don't want to like enforce it on my kids. Hey, you got something free. Like you can do it. Like you don't have to take this shit serious. No, shit's expensive. If you want to go for it, you better figure out a way to get grants, scholarships. Figure something out. But the idea that I'm going to be here to bail you out for everything, I just don't want to set that precedent for my kid.
You're absolutely right, because one thing I did watch when I attended campus was that this young generation were still cutting out of class. You know what I'm saying? Like they were still treating it as it was like high school. And they did it because they knew mom and dad were going to continue to fork out the money to continue to pay for these classes. And mom and dad wasn't taking the stance to say, no, it's no more, because the other kids whose parents do take the stands, guess what they're doing? They're working at some fast food or something like that to cover the expenses for these classes, even though they're just doing maybe 1 or 2, whatever, the cost is here in Florida. But they're doing that now with their check. They're going to cover that because the parents are like, no, I'm not going to be that bank to just keep paying for your stuff. And you're going to show up to one class and then cut out the rest of the class so you could go hang out with your friends. And I saw that a lot. And you would think that your mindset would sort of change when you're at that collegiate level. But these kids are still young. You know what I'm saying? They're still like you said, I want to go out there, hang out, party, do this and that, and not even think to how the next payment is going to come from my class. So if I fail it, I know mom and dad will cover it. But sometimes it doesn't work out that way. I mean, I applaud those kids now who graduated high school and are having to work so that way they could cover their school, which is great. Mom and dad helps them with like, hey, take the car. If you need money for gas, I'll help you with that. But as long as you're still pressing forward with school, because they don't want to see that, you don't want to see your kid be a dropout, just not doing anything with their lives. And you guys as parents, I know you're
Right.
not gonna just want to see your kids just out there just doing whatever they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like you still want to make sure they're
Mm-hmm.
gonna get a good profession and everything else. But yeah, I saw a lot of kids that were just like cutting out of class, and I'm like, man, you don't know how good you got it that you have somebody who's gonna cover your debt. Some of the other classmates
Right.
are not fortunate like me that are getting covered by the government. You know what I'm saying? They're really having to bust their ass either at work or making sure that mom pays is for you to pass. I met one girl that was on the on her school visa. She was from Mexico, I think, and she was attending college here in Florida from the school visa. And if she failed, guess what? She got deported back to her country, and there was no more school. So she was like, I don't know, I don't think she was DACA or anything like that, but she was just there. And she even noticed, like, Dan, you know, like sometimes we would show up to class and the class usually hold like 15, 20 students. There'd be sometimes where it's only 10 or less. And, you know, she made sure she was there every day. Like, you know, we talk and everything, but she would look
Yeah.
and be like, how are these kids not here? She was like, I wish I was like them because, you know, I'm here on a visa. I have to make sure I pass.
Yeah.
If I don't, I'm gone. And she was like, it's fucked up to see that these kids are taking that for granted when you have other kids around the world that really will put in the effort and the initiative to, you know, get that education that is not guaranteed for them in their home country. So, I mean, it's
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, though, if you think about it, like that to me makes me excited when I hear shit like that. When I go around those things and I'm seeing people act that way, I'm like, fucking yes, man, please, motherfuckers, you are about to lose, man. This is a competition,
Right.
and your ass isn't even showing up. Like you've already lost. You know, I talk to some people sometimes, and they'll say something to me, and I'll be like, well, I wake up at this time, and they'll be like, oh my god, I can never do it. And I was like, that's why you're never gonna
Disgusting.
beat me. And they're like, whoa,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? That they have that look of like, what are you talking about? I'm like, dude, you're not gonna be. I'm crazy, man. If I'm willing to wake up this early, if I'm coming to work and I've already accomplished 2 or 3 tasks, there is no fucking way by any means you're gonna beat me at
Right.
work. Like I'm just better, and I'm better because I've already
Yeah.
shit. You know,
I mean, you're
it's
sounding a
true, though,
little
like,
conceited
I mean,
right now. You're sounding a little conceited right
it's
now.
it's not conceited. It's confidence in myself, though. Like it really is. It's confidence in my ability because I know what I'm willing to
Gotcha.
do, and I've done it, and I've proved to myself, and I've shown up numerous times where I have something to say. You know, I've gotten 4 hours of sleep. I forgot what night it was a couple nights ago. I got 4 hours of sleep, but I still was up at 4:59, and I had to work out this like just
All right.
recently. And so it's like, hey man, like I'm here to work. Like and that's what like it sucks because it's like a borderline between confidence and that, but it's not really ego. It's not that, because I don't think I'm better than nobody. I just have extreme confidence in myself. And to other people think I'm arrogant, but it's like it's not. You see it as arrogance because you don't have the capacity to work.
Right.
It is what it is, but it's just confidence. I don't think I'm better than nobody. I just know that I have enough history with myself of showing up every day working. And so when someone's like that, I'm like, man, unless you're willing to wake up earlier than me, unless you're willing to like work out and do all these things and then show up for work and then keep going harder and stay up later, you're not gonna, like, it is what it is, man. Like you just can't do that yet. I'm not saying you can't get to that level or that type of thing, because it's taken me a long time, but you're not gonna fucking beat me. Like you're just not.
And
You're not hungry enough.
that's what I was gonna get to, is that it does take a couple of years and life lessons for you to get to that mindset where you're like, all right, I'm gonna sacrifice the sleep because I'm gonna do this schedule because I want to be, you know, the early bird gets the worm. You know what I'm saying? The one who gets up first is out there doing the chase and going after it versus waking up like me. And already most of the morning's already gone, and I'm just got to look forward to the afternoon and figure out what I'm gonna do. But a lot of people don't have a drive like that, man. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people are just like, it is what it is. You know, if it happens to me, it happens to me. Because I can't. One thing I dislike is that I see a lot of people like complain or vent about, oh man, you know, I went through 15 interviews, I didn't get hired or anything like that. And then there's some other people who are just like, they expect that shit to just be given to them. You know what I'm saying? I don't see anybody really pushing themselves to be like, how can I better myself? And if you look at it now, like you said before, the degree right now has changed so much. Prior to a master's being sort of the degree that a lot of jobs are going to prefer, as long as you had your high school diploma, some jobs was like, okay, cool. Then it changed. It said, no, you need a fucking bachelor's. So even if you had your associates, they didn't care. They were like, let me see the bachelor's. So now people are like, let me get bachelor's, let me get bachelor's. A lot of postings now are like, we need that fucking master's or a PhD, or give me some years of work experience in that field. Because now the bachelor is becoming the high school diploma. Nobody's really giving too much about it. I mean, they like it because they're seeing you are a college graduate, but at the same token, they would rather see a master's for you to get that higher paid position or whatnot. But back in the days, bachelor's was it. Bachelor's like, yo, a lot of postings was like, yo, get your bachelor's and everything else. But now it's like, who cares about the bachelor's? Get your master's now. So yeah. I mean, I think the education piece is good. I feel like it does help your resume, but I think you're definitely right. I mean, I know people who don't have any college degrees, and they're like general managers of restaurants. Like they're doing electrical work for 20. Like they got skill sets under them, and which is, I think you're right. Like you definitely do need a skill set, because I know for sure. Once I got out of the military, I felt like I probably could have got right into work just because of the work experience. So I would have been bringing in a lot of skill sets with the 20 years without being a college graduate. And I probably would have got maybe a good FEMA job, or even in the city EM field or whatever. I probably would have got in compared to somebody who just had a bachelor's or master's and had no years of experience in that field, Right. So, I mean, that's why for me, I'm using this as, okay, government's going to pay. Let me take advantage. And that way my resume looks good now. Now I'm a master's in this. Plus I got my bachelor's in this. Plus now I'm bringing you 20 years of experience in the field in this area. So I'm hoping, my resume like really puts people's eyes to be like, oh shit, this is a good candidate. But it's tough field, man. It really is.